Hey everyone! Today we're going to dive into something we all do every single day, describing people. We're going on a journey through words, looking at the language we use to define everything from our closest family members to our deepest, most private emotions. So that brings up a really big question, right? How do we find the words to describe an entire human life? I mean, think about it. It's something we do constantly, often without a second thought. But what are the actual building blocks of that language? Well, let's jump in and find out. All right, so where does it all begin? For most of us, our story and the vocabulary we use to tell it almost always starts in the exact same place, with family. These are our very first connections, the people who really shape our understanding of the world from day one. And right at the heart of it all is what we call our immediate family. This is your core group, your parents, your brothers, your sisters. It's basically the first social unit we ever really learned to put a name to. Now, just look at how two simple descriptions can paint completely different pictures of a childhood. You've got a loving family, which brings to mind support and usually leads to a carefree childhood. But then on the other side, the term dysfunctional family suggests unhealthy relationships, which can create a troubled childhood. The language itself tells such a powerful story, doesn't it? And when families change, the words we use get way more specific. A bitter divorce, for example, is just charged with angry feelings. A messy divorce makes you think of long legal battles over money and property. But then you hear mutual divorce, and it sounds so much more peaceful, like an amicable split. Each phrase gives us a really precise snapshot of what's going on. Okay, so from those family roots, we start to forge our own personalities. And this brings us to character, that whole collection of qualities that makes each of us who we are. Our character is never just one thing, is it? It's this incredibly complex mix of different traits and behaviors. So what are the words we actually reach for to describe that mix? Here, we can really see that spectrum. Someone with an outgoing personality is kind of the polar opposite of someone who's painfully shy. A person can be fiercely loyal, but maybe they also have a mean streak. And even a phrase like having thicker skin, meaning you're not easily offended, stands in such stark contrast to having low self-esteem. And think about this idiom. She showed her true colors. We've all heard that one. It means someone's real personality was finally revealed, and usually it's a bit of a shock. It implies that what we were seeing on the surface, that wasn't the whole story at all. So we've got family, and we have our own developing character. What's the next natural step? It's finding your people, forming all those important relationships with friends and partners. Friendships often follow a certain path, don't they? We start with casual acquaintances, people we know, but maybe not on a deep level. Then, over time, some of those might become good friends. And then there are the people we share our strongest bonds with. Those are our close friends. And what about romance? Well, that often starts with a classic question. Do you believe in love at first sight? That single phrase tries to capture that instant, almost electric feeling of connection. The language of love is just packed with these specific ideas. Strong chemistry describes that magnetic pull you can't quite explain. A soulmate is someone you feel you are destined to be with. There's the nostalgia of a childhood sweetheart. And then, of course, there's the heartache of unrequited love, when those feelings just aren't returned. But relationships, they can be complicated. When a partner is unfaithful in a marriage, the phrase we use is that they have an affair. It's a very simple term for what is, of course, a deeply painful situation. So, long before we get to know someone's character, we get a first impression. And this brings us to the language of appearance, all the ways we describe what people look like. And wow, our language for appearance can be a tale of two extremes. One person is described as absolutely gorgeous with sleek, jet black hair. The other person, they get hideously ugly with unkempt hair. The words we choose create a very, very vivid and, let's be honest, often pretty judgmental picture. We can also get incredibly detailed, can't we? Describing an hourglass figure or broad shoulders. We notice really specific things, like bushy eyebrows. And when someone looks almost exactly like someone else, we say they bear a striking resemblance. Each little phrase adds another brushstroke to the portrait we're painting with words. All right, for our last section, let's go even deeper. Deeper than skin, deeper than character, deeper even than relationships. Let's talk about the words we use for our internal world, our feelings. This is life's emotional roller coaster. A roller coaster of emotions. I mean, what a powerful metaphor. It perfectly describes feeling so many things one after another. The highs, the lows, joy, fear, all at once. It just captures the intensity of those huge life events so well.
And just notice the intensity in these descriptions. You're not just happy, you're blissfully happy. You're not just worried, you're worried sick. And you're not just angry, you're seething with anger. It's like our language has a volume knob for feelings. They're not just on or off, they have different levels of intensity.
So, what do we do with all these powerful emotions? Well, some people bottle them up. It's an idiom that creates this perfect mental image of hiding your feelings away, keeping them locked inside. And then there are those moments. The feelings are just too big for any single word. They get so strong that it's hard to think or even speak. And in those moments, maybe all we can really say is that we are overwhelmed with emotion. So it's pretty clear that the words we use aren't just labels. They build our world. They shape our stories. And that leads to one final question for you to think about. What story are your words telling?